Well, I mean, can it be edited?
Yeah, right?
Can we go back and edit that in?
Let's restart.
Restarting. 1, 2, 3.
Assemble.
Yeah.
See, there we go.
All right, yes.
I like how it was just like after that, it's like, no. Turn the faders down.
So this is just a phase 1 podcast, right?
Yeah.
That's
I
the
believe
plan.
so.
That's all. I'm excited about phase 2 because there are at least 2 movies I haven't seen.
Which
what?
ones?
Yeah. Dark World.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Don't get too excited.
I almost watched it instead of the Avengers last night because I've seen the Avengers several times. But and then Guardians of the Galaxy.
I like that one.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Like, it was weird when they started streaming on like Netflix and stuff. They only had the second one. Like the second one's been on streaming for a long time. I never went and saw the first one. I wasn't even really charting that it was connected when it came out. I was like, oh, that looks fun, but I wasn't like I wasn't charting that they were going to do like when I was watching Iron Man 1 in 2008. I wasn't charting that they were going to do this big elaborate interconnected thing. Mm-hmm. So, what do you guys think about the shows?
Like the Netflix.
If you put if you put the show, they've done this thing where they put the shows in phase 1, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in between this movie and that movie. Have you seen that?
So I only watched maybe a few episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I wasn't really that into it.
That guy's way cooler in like Thor and stuff, like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like
Agent Coulson.
Yeah. Is he in the TV show?
He is.
Yeah, like
they brought him back to life.
See, I haven't. Oh yeah. See, I haven't watched any of that. I really haven't either with the movies. So
Same.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't really into the show. I didn't think it was that well done. It didn't really grab my attention. So
kind of opposite of the Mandalorian effect we have going on right now. Like, so Mandalorian's a good spin-off of Star Wars people enjoy.
Not just, it's great.
But it is. It's
right. I would say it goes beyond good.
Have you talked to Barlow about it?
Yeah,
I have. He was losing his mind
I know.
after he watched it. I was like, yeah, dude, it's great. I've seen it several times.
Better than the current franchise.
Right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like almost like the opposite effect. We would all agree that the new Star Wars trilogy and the prequels are not as good as the original. But the spin-off show, at least that one, I haven't watched. It's got me wanting to watch the other Favreau show, the Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Clone Wars and what is it? Rebels?
Rebels.
Both of those are supposed to be really good.
Yeah. Have you watched any of them?
No. I thought it was for kids. So
did I.
Well, it was showing on Cartoon Network. So yeah. I didn't watch it.
My friend Mike Page, he's one of the owners of Inferno in Northwest Arkansas. He's watched like all of them and loves them. But I just never got into it. He was like watching it with his kid, ironically. So I thought it was for kids too. But several grown adults I know have been like, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's
I have several friends that
highly
recommend
it's like canon, right?
Yes, it is.
Accepted canon. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, that's so interesting. We would all also agree that like any of the Marvel stuff I've seen on like Netflix or wherever is not that good, you know?
Well, I disagree. I like Daredevil season 1.
Okay, Daredevil season 1 was good.
Season 2 was okay. And I like Jessica Jones season 1.
Haven't seen that.
It's really good.
Daredevil season 3 is out, correct?
Yeah, I haven't watched it since they pretty much canceled all those shows with the move over to Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if they'll pick that back up where they left off on some of them.
So far, nothing's been said about it.
Does it piss you guys off that there have been so many Spider-Mans?
No. Well, yes and no. I like the Tobey Maguire ones.
Me too. I got a major soft spot, even though the third one was kind of cheesy.
Oh, the third one was cheesy.
Kind of.
That dance scene.
Yeah.
In the jazz bar.
Now dig on this.
Oh, yes.
Like, who wrote that?
Oh, for real. And I would like to go back and look at the director. I'm sure they had a different director for each one, or like maybe they didn't. But I think that there's
the original Spider-Man?
The original Spider-Man.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
Is it all the same for the first 3?
Sam Raimi.
Yeah. Right. Sam Raimi. Yeah.
So not a continuity issue there.
No, there was the third one had some executive meddling with who they wanted to be the villain in the movie. I think that led to a lot of Spider-Man 3's problems.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't excuse the jazz dancing.
Yeah, for real. For real. Yeah.
But I like those. I don't like the Andrew Garfield movies. I think those are absolutely awful. Have you ever watched them?
No.
I've seen them.
They're bad.
Yeah, the lizard, I don't know.
It was bad. He just wasn't a good Peter Parker or Spider-Man.
Yeah. The first one was more memorable than the second. But then,
I think the second's more memorable because it was so bad.
It was
That's
pretty
a
bad
movie.
It was, yeah. The first one, I don't know. I kind of thought that him as Peter Parker was kind of this cool... like a cooler version of Peter Parker than we're used to seeing.
Cool.
Exactly, which is not really in line with it's typical Peter Parker. I'll tell you, if I'm going to watch Spider-Man, I want to watch the 90s cartoon. It's on Disney Plus.
I watched it a little bit, but I never got into it. We were X-Men.
Yeah, we watched X-Men. Yeah. That was on Fox.
You guys have Disney Plus?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what's going on right now. But yeah, the original 90s X-Men cartoon, 90s Spider-Man, Gargoyles.
Yeah.
Like... I'm just reliving my whole childhood. Yeah. I need some Johnny Quest streaming.
That was a good show.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about, like, old Johnny Quest or, like, new adventures?
Both were pretty good.
Quest World.
I actually heard they're rebooting Johnny Quest.
And that would be so cool. I remember when they came out with, like, Johnny Quest action figures when I was a kid. I was losing my mind. It was awesome. Because that was like right when they were reviving the show, and I'd only seen the like old one, like you're talking about, and so it was like coming out again in my childhood. So I was and like I was experiencing it. I was pumped about it. I was like, I can't believe that this stuff that hasn't been out since like because they only did like one season and like a movie or something. But I'd seen the movie, and I was a huge fan as a kid. So yeah. So the show's not a big fan. Out of the
like the Marvel shows, I don't even know if they like what is considered to be in phase 1 and phase 2. They're like I said, they're kind of their own thing.
Apparently, well, and I wonder if the charts I've seen are done by fans or what, but they'll be like the movies, but then in between the movies it'll be like watch episodes 7 through 13 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right here in between.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think is the only one that would be in phase 1, but when did it come out? I think actually it came out after Avengers, so then it has to be phase 2. And I know for sure Daredevil, they make references to the attack on New York. So that puts it phase 2.
Well, I just think that's amazing that somebody actually sits down and figures out, well, you need to watch this episode in between this film as opposed to these other episodes.
It really was blowing my mind. Well, and then I think we had talked about this too. There's the chronology watch. Which you would watch like Captain Marvel, which like when we first started talking about doing this, I watched like Captain Marvel like second or something, and you watch like Captain America first. I think like you watch several of the phase 1 movies in a different order, versus if you watch them by release, it's just Iron Man. You just start with
I like watching it by release though because I like seeing how they kind of evolved the films.
Right.
Much more than I guess the story. I don't. The story evolves, but I feel like Marvel just gets better and better about how they're making the movies as they go along. So I prefer to watch it by release date.
Right.
That's an excellent point.
Also, I like remembering like where I was at in life and how I felt about the movies as we go along. Because when Iron Man came out the same year as The Dark Knight, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I didn't even want to go see Iron Man because I was all about The Dark Knight. So I didn't see Iron Man until it came out on DVD and I rented it.
I remember seeing Iron Man in theaters, loving it, buying it as soon as it came out, and like watching it all the time in 2008 or 2009 or when it was. Because like I was just, I remember I lived in Spring Lake Apartments at that time, and I was on unemployment for 17 months, and I was just getting back into college at that time. And it's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
I like out of all the Iron Mans, it's my favorite.
Yeah, but I don't. The other ones are just okay, in my opinion.
Yeah. So on that note, I really like Iron Man 1, but Iron Man 2, I was disappointed in. Mickey Rourke, I have a soft spot in my heart for him because he's a boxer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but he is.
Well, that's another thing that's interesting to me. Also, I was going to ask, when you first watched Iron Man, did you know about the end credits scene?
Yeah, that's true. I
mean, what would you explain? I don't know.
Go through all the way to the credits, the very end, when Nick Fury shows up and he's like, "I'd like to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative."
Yeah, because a few people knew about that.
Yeah,
right? I mean, like Marvel.
I don't know if I was charting at that time the end credits.
Yeah, because well, go ahead.
Well, that movie sort of set this precedent for putting these scenes in your end credits, so people start hanging around then to see these things. And Iron Man was one of the first films that I remember hearing about that. Oh yeah, hang around till the end of the credits and there's more movie. It's like, what?
I remember. Yeah, I went and saw a movie with I don't remember what movie it was, with Drew Kogan. Mm-hmm. It was the original Avengers. It was this movie.
Yeah,
they were watching right now, and we stayed after, and they knew, and at that time, and I was like, "What? Really?"
Yeah. Now I remember when Iron Man came out. I was living in the dorms at UCA, in the honors dorms, and there was a group of guys that lived next door to me and my roommates, and they were like, "Hey, do you guys want to go? We're seeing Iron Man. Let's go." And we were like, whatever. And they went and saw it, and they came back talking about how awesome it was, but they totally didn't realize there was an end credits. So once they found out, they were like, "We're going again. We got to see what's at the end. We hear it's Nick Fury." But yeah, at the time, no one ever stayed. I don't ever remember there being an end credits scene for anything else I was seeing at the time.
Yeah. No, that's not super common. I can't think of any other franchise that's done that, honestly.
Yeah,
there's something after the movie consistently.
Right.
I wonder if there's some sort of watch all of these clips in this order.
There probably is.
Tells a larger plot.
I wouldn't think so, because it's always trying to set up the next movie.
Yeah, for real. True. It's almost like an Easter egg for the next film.
And the Iron Man one is setting up the entire idea of there's going to be an Avengers movie, which at the time I was like, this is way too ambitious. You guys have had one movie. Right. And then when the Incredible Hulk came out, which isn't that good, and Iron Man 2, which isn't that good.
Okay, so it's bad.
I like it.
You like the Incredible? Like okay, please.
Yeah, tell us why.
Defend this position.
I'm gonna cast something from my phone. A scene
from the Incredible Hulk.
A very important scene.
Because
first off, we got to say that Edward Norton is a great actor.
Oh, I love him.
He is a good actor, but
no, he's great. I love Edward Norton.
He's a great actor.
What's your favorite Edward Norton film? Do you know?
I don't know. I like Primal Fear a lot, which is his first.
Yes, with Richard Gere.
And he was robbed an Oscar for that performance.
I'm just going to go with the perennial classic American History X.
He's really good.
Yeah, right. He's
also robbed of an Oscar.
Yeah, right.
He's a lot of good movies.
There's this one movie, it's super sad, A Painted Veil. It's about the outbreak in China.
Huh?
I think it's China. But, such a good. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast probably 8 or 9 months ago and talked about his film history and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a short one too. It was like an hour and a half long or something.
Yeah.
But super good. Okay. This is, I'm trying to find a good scene.
We'll be here all day.
Yeah. If it's the Incredible Hulk, that's very possible.
Is there a good scene? No, I do here, maybe let's talk about what we like about it. I do like that chase scene through the streets of, is he in Brazil?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was actually filmed pretty well. And it reminded me of the chase scene from Inception through the streets. But, Incredible Hulk came out first, so I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah.
I can't find the clip I want in its entirety. There's some collages.
You have to act it out now.
Hicks and Gracie is in that film. Hicks and Gracie is the most enlightened guy that trains and knows jiu-jitsu in the whole.
Okay.
Ironically, I got to go to a seminar he taught like 3 years ago in Vegas. And at that seminar, he got promoted to the highest rank in jiu-jitsu. And when they walked in and did it, he didn't know that it's like his family that did it, that like started this big line of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. They like walked in and surprised him, and he was using me to demonstrate a technique at that time. But he is the Hulk, Bruce Banner's martial arts instructor.
Oh, okay.
In The Incredible Hulk. So like, remember how they're sitting in that, and like he's teaching him how to do that breathing.
Yeah.
Like, Hickson really does this wild breathing where like he sucks his like stomach up in and like can like compartmentalize and like suck half of a side of his like 8-pack in, and the other is like fully out and defined, and then he can like. It's called Kundalini yoga. What he's doing, it's this crazy breathing exercise. But that's what he's teaching Edward Norton.
Right.
So when I saw it, I'm just like, oh man. But really, that's the only part of the movie.
Okay, so that's the only. Is that really the only like good thing?
Yeah, you know, that and Edward Norton really spruces it up. I like Mark Ruffalo, but
I will say though, Edward Norton is the incredible strength for the Incredible Hulk because he's a really good actor. I also think he's a weakness. Because he's notoriously hard to work with.
Yeah.
And he took
what do you know
over.
About that?
What do I know about it?
Yeah.
American History X was allegedly
pretty much.
Like, is he just a method actor? Or?
Well, he is that, but also he likes having creative control over the movie he's working on. American History X is a really good example where he just started rewriting, and like one day, I guess the director went into the editing room and Edward Norton was in there like recutting the film.
Yes. This.
So and you know, I like American History X. I think it's a good movie.
Yeah, it is. It is a good movie.
So it's like, was Edward Norton right to do that? Because what we're watching is basically the Edward Norton cut.
Right.
Because the director kind of left the movie because he was upset about his main star basically taking over.
I'm gonna have to look into this.
I've
heard all sorts of stories about Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah,
because I just showed The Crucible recently to my U.S. History 1 class, and some of that was coming up, and I was researching some of it. Just little stories about his method acting. That's what pushes him over the top. Like he will not. When he was doing Last of the Mohicans, he would not set his gun down. Like all sorts of wild stuff of like he would sleep with his gun. Anything that was like frontiersman, he was doing it.
Yeah.
But so much so that it's like intolerable to be around.
It's annoying.
Yeah, but
yeah, Edward Norton and the Incredible Hulk, it's the same thing. He came on to the movie with the understanding that he would have creative control over the script. And the direction of the film. And I mean, and especially comparing his movie to Mark Ruffalo's performance as Bruce Banner, I think Edward Norton was off the mark on this one. I think the movie is like, to me, it's just, what is the like sad theme from the TV series? The Lonely Man theme?
Yeah.
I feel like the whole movie is based around the Lonely Man theme from the original Hulk series.
And also there's a bit of incongruity too.
I could see that.
There is a bit of incongruity too, because you had Iron Man right before that, which was, I mean, there's a lot of like comedy stuff in there too.
Fun.
And then you go it's a fun movie, right, to watch. And then you go to the Incredible Hulk and it's just depressing, right? Or that's where it attempts to be. It attempts to be, it's kind of a downer, right? And
he's also not angry enough.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like in Avengers and with Mark Ruffalo's performance, they really got into the anger part of it.
Right.
And Edward Norton's Hulk, I didn't really feel he was that angry. I felt he was more sad than anything.
I mean, did you feel a connection with the Hulk? I did.
Edward Norton?
Yeah, I didn't.
No.
I'll say I really didn't feel a connection with that character.
I don't think I connected with any characters.
Right. But maybe that has something to do with the storytelling. I thought it was kind of ridiculous how they just decided to cram like the whole Hulk origin thing like into the opening credits sequence without like, it's like, I don't even know what's really going on here.
Yeah. You know? I remember that.
But they didn't really explain it till the Avengers.
Right.
I mean, this is all in kind of exposition and dialogue of saying like, oh, he was trying to recreate the Captain America formula using gamma rays. Yeah. But yeah, I never got that from the Incredible Hulk movie. You just know that there was some sort of science experiment gone wrong.
Yeah, and that's right. I felt like maybe you needed a little more than that, but I don't know. Your mileage may vary. So,
well, Brian liked it.
I don't know. That's fine. That's okay. You know,
well, there are things. There are things about it I liked. And they have not done another Hulk movie since, only Hulk in the Avengers. Is that correct?
Yeah. And I think it's because that first movie just was such a... Well, and it wasn't a bomb. I think it made money.
Right. And also there is a 2-year gap in between Incredible Hulk and then the second Iron Man movie, right?
Yeah.
You jump from 2008 to 2010. That's when you get the next one. So it's kind of like where they just kind of, well, should we go forward with this now? You know, sort of.
Yeah. Maybe there was. I wonder how much the logistical side of this had been done, like in 2008, right? Of like, I kind of felt like that the continuity issues with I felt that way with the Spider-Man franchise. Right. It's like we had these 3, then we have these 2 more. Now we're doing another one.
Yeah,
and it's like, what is it going to be?
Well, I think
I'm curious if this was planned out, if hey, we're just going to release the second Iron Man movie like right after the Incredible Hulk, or maybe they had another idea lined up, but it's like, well, Incredible Hulk didn't really turn out that well for us, so let's go back to Iron Man because that was such a success, right?
When did the super shitty Incredible Hulk come out? Like 2003?
Yeah, went and saw that at the theater.
I just can't.
And we just riffed on it the whole time.
That is directed by Ang Lee.
Yeah.
Who is, like, Academy Award winning director. How does that happen?
Yeah, okay. Let's that movie is worse than the Incredible Hulk. Hulk is worse than the Incredible Hulk.
I haven't watched Hulk in a long time, so I
don't have any fondness for that version.
I just remember us laughing out loud.
Yeah, we went and saw it in the theater, and we just riffed on it the whole time. We were just cracking jokes, and it was great. It was
a good movie experience, but not a good movie.
Right? Good movie experience, not a good movie.
Well, that's good. You know, at least.
Well, yeah,
you can make something out of it.
I feel like after that, and then doing the Incredible Hulk, which wasn't great, I feel like they were just like, let's stay away from doing another like Hulk movie.
Okay, yeah,
we'll just put Bruce Banner and Hulk in our other movies, but he won't have his own film. Yeah. I think he was banned from having a sequel.
So. Is Edward Norton's control issue like why they wouldn't involve him, or why he didn't want to be involved in like the Avengers?
To my understanding and research, it was an amicable split between the two, where Edward Norton didn't want to work in that environment where you have someone who's telling you like, hey, we have to do this, this, and this to keep on the story and continuity. Right. And then they didn't want to work with Edward Norton because he wanted creative control. So, like I said, I think it worked out both ways, and he just parted, and they hired Mark Ruffalo, which ended up being better.
Yeah, I like Mark Ruffalo as an actor.
I do.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
They they did a great job replacing like Edward Norton's known as like an actor. But I feel like Mark Ruffalo is too.
Yeah.
He's been nominated for Academy Awards. He's as equally critically praised as Edward Norton.
I liked Mark Ruffalo's version of Hulk. I like his introduction when they first bring him in, right? Where it's like him and Black Widow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like in that scene, like his acting told me more about his character than I felt like sort of like the Edward Norton thing. I felt more of a connection with that, right? Like he's more...
Yeah, no, I agree. To me, it's a well-written and well-acted scene because it establishes him as someone who will help people in need.
Right.
But also establishes that he has this anger inside of him, and he's someone that you should be afraid of, and he can't control himself.
Yeah.
And they established that. And how long is that scene? Maybe like 8 minutes? Yeah. That they establish his character better than the entire Incredible Hulk movie
that's exactly what I'm saying there, is that I felt like like that. And right, I'm not knocking Edward Norton, because
we love Edward Norton. Everybody here loves that man.
I don't want him to come knocking on my door and be like, hey,
Nazi tattoo out.
Yeah, right. This means not welcome, right? Yeah, I don't want that to happen. No, but I just I just felt like even in that like 7-minute scene that version of Bruce Banner of like the Incredible Hulk was more multi-layered than the Edward Norton version, which is pretty much I'm sad guy, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of what I felt like the Edward Norton thing was.
Yeah, I feel like I think it's only one scene, but I feel like he's constantly walking in the rain without an umbrella. Yeah, that was the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, it really was. Yeah. They were, but you kind of said they were kind of playing off of that that sort of mini part of the plot, right? Of that he is kind of withdrawn man. And sad, and he can't have he can't have friends.
Yeah.
So Iron Man 2, 2010.
Is that your least favorite out of
out of the Phase 1? I really like all of them.
That is the least favorite for everybody. Iron Man 2.
Yeah, I would say it's worse than Incredible Hulk. Not by a whole lot, but...
See, I don't know if I can say... I'm not... I mean, Iron Man 2 is not... It's not like, oh, this is a stellar piece of cinema.
What do you like about it?
About
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2.
See, that's a good question. Because I'm thinking it over, and I'm like, yeah, it was pretty campy, right? And... the Russians.
Yeah. It's the Russians.
Yeah, right.
I remember that part.
Because I'm like...
I watched that one probably last month.
Yeah.
But I hadn't seen it. I've probably seen it 3 times.
Incredible accent in that film. That's...
I mean, it was... It was okay. It's kind of like... Age of Ultron is the second Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I felt real similar about both of those films. I couldn't get into Age of Ultron. I'm gonna watch it again for our next podcast or whatever.
Right.
But
when I went and saw Age of Ultron, I left the theater being like, okay, it's not as good as the first one, but I still enjoyed my time here at the theater.
Yeah.
Iron Man 2 I did not see in the theater, but I did watch it on DVD, and I was like, most of it I was like, what am I watching and who wrote this? The whole like party scene with Tony being drunk and then he fights with Rhodey, like it was stupid.
And they replaced Rhodey. What do you guys think about that? Did you like the Don Cheadle version or the
Terrence Howard?
Terrence Howard, yes.
I mean, I don't even know.
Well, I mean, you got one movie verse.
Yeah, I know. Right, is it fair to compare?
But then again, I guess we could say the same thing with what we were saying about Incredible Hulk, too. What if they'd given Edward Norton another movie, right? How would that have been?
I will say I do
Since Ruffalo's had time to kind of work out this character over several films.
But at the same time, I felt like Mark Ruffalo in that first scene, like... dominated that.
Yeah, right. I mean, I agree. I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, so it was an immediate like, okay, this guy is
this is
Hulk.
My Hulk.
This is my guy.
Yeah, this is.
Even though I still love Edward Norton, please don't come to my house. No, actually do come to my house.
Yeah, so we can talk about your other great films, right? Yeah, come on over. Yeah, come on over. We'll talk about all your other work. I
want to know why he questions every director but Wes Anderson. They seem to get along.
Yeah, it would be so that's it'd be so fascinating to sit down and talk with that guy, or like a Daniel Day-Lewis or Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. was on Joe Rogan recently, and he's like talking about how he's never going to do anything Iron Man again.
So he says.
And he's also talking about how he does how Wing Chun changed his life.
How what?
Wing Chun.
What is that?
It's a song. Like everybody Wing Chun tonight.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. It's a martial art. But it is a song too. It's a song. It is. It's like, have you ever seen Yip Man?
Yeah.
The movie? So that is a martial art he does.
Right. Okay.
Wing Chun. It's a subset of Kung Fu. So like the dummies that they hit, I have 2 of those. Like I have a guy that comes in and trains me 2 days a week on them. That's like the 72-year-old Asian Mr. Miyagi type master. But Robert Downey Jr. trains Wing Chun and is talking about it and Iron Man on Joe Rogan. It was about an hour just a little over an hour long. It was actually kind of a boring podcast. It is a short, worthy watch, but like in the overall, it's kind of like maybe what you guys are saying, Incredible Hulk. I'm like, out of all the Joe Rogan podcasts, I'm like, yeah, it was a good one-time watch.
Did you feel like you were walking in the rain without an umbrella?
Yeah, a little bit. So, but it wasn't just like super stimulating, like listen to him talk. But that Joe Rogan's just like mind blown sitting down talking with Robert Downey Jr. about Avengers and like just kept hammering on the Iron Man thing. And he's just like, yeah, I'm done with that. Gonna do other things now.
We'll see.
Sure.
But getting back to Don Cheadle, I do want to say, I think him and Robert Downey Jr. do have much better chemistry.
Yeah.
Than Robert Downey Jr. and Terrence Howard did.
I minded the swap at the time. And then now it's like what I guess you said with Mark Ruffalo. It's like over time.
Right. Like, so they're able to flesh out the characters and sort of build these relationships. Right. There's dynamic.
Who was the villain in the first Iron Man? What was his name?
Something stupid.
It actually wasn't.
Obadiah.
Stain.
Right. Yeah.
That is a stupid name.
Yeah, okay, that is a stupid name.
I liked his character though. I thought he was just like, interesting. He'd known Tony's dad and how he was kind of like the corporate control guy.
To me, that movie, and I think a lot of the Marvel movies, it's not really about the villain. It's about, that one especially is about Tony Stark and him, his character involvement, becoming Iron Man.
An arc. We call it a character arc.
It is a character arc.
Yeah,
but that is one of the criticisms about Marvel, is that their villains aren't very good. Especially when you start comparing it to like DC's stable of villains. They're just not as memorable.
Okay.
Did you guys see, I'm sure you did, Joker?
I did. I didn't really like it.
Really?
No, I don't know.
Did you see it, Thurman?
No, I haven't seen it.
I'm in the minority with my opinion.
Watch it and tell me what you think when you get a moment. Because I enjoyed it. I kind of, same thing everybody else said. I'm like, man, this dude is super mentally ill. And they did a great job portraying
Joaquin Phoenix is great in the movie.
Yes.
That might have been one of the few things I liked. Otherwise, to me, it was too depressing. The DC is just, I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't know what DC is trying to do with their movie universe, because Joker doesn't fit into anything, and they're making a new Batman movie. So I'm like, well, what? How?
With Twilight guy.
Hey, I'm all for it. I love Robert Pattinson.
Cedric Diggory, maybe.
Have you seen any of his work post Twilight? No. He does weird indie movies. He's actually a really good actor.
If you could suggest one Robert Pattinson movie for me to watch right now that maybe Thurman would also watch, but not together.
They're all so weird. I don't know if I want to.
What was that one like that Cora watched, like one called like Water for Elephants or something like that? Is that one?
It's okay.
Yeah, that wasn't the one I was going for.
I'm talking about, I mean, like actual indie stuff he's done. Like Good Time is one of them. It's good. It's not really Good Time, but it's good. The Lighthouse was good, but it is super weird.
See, I want to see that movie, because to me it looks very David Lynchian.
It is.
So that's why I'm like, oh yeah, because I love David Lynch, so it's but just like the cinematography, sound stuff in it, it's like from the trailers, I'm like, whoa, this is super weird, man.
It was super weird, but it's got Willem Dafoe, who I love. It's just him and Willem Dafoe, basically.
I for the longest time I thought his name was William. It's Willem.
Well, I watched him on Conan. And Conan had footage of a younger Willem Dafoe mispronouncing his own name as William Dafoe. So
all right.
It could be William. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, people always changing their names when they get famous, like slightly or altogether. Like John Wayne.
Right, he was John Wayne. Marion Morrison. Yeah, that was his real name.
Yeah, man, I don't remember what his actual name is, but Vin Diesel is not his real name. And me and some friends were laughing at what his real name was.
Yeah, okay, here's another thing.
And it's not Vincent.
I want to say Vin Diesel has like a twin brother or something too. Something wild like that. And Vin Diesel plays like D&D.
Wow.
Yeah,
an avid D&D enthusiast. Okay, I don't know if either one of you would be interested in this, but at the new podcast studio, me and Chris Hausnick and maybe we're talking to a couple other people, but we're talking about getting like a desktop Star Wars game going, like bi-weekly.
Desktop Star Wars game,
like D&D, but Star Wars, Star Wars universe, man.
I don't know. I'm kind of down for this. This sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, I was half tempted to just like roll up a game of D&D because I haven't done that in over 10 years.
Yeah,
and I know several people who are playing right now. There's been like a resurgence, but I have a desktop game that somebody gave me. Mm-hmm. So we were talking about getting in the new studio, getting set up, and maybe I know several people that play Pathfinder right now too. You know, Ryan Peden, he plays Pathfinder like once a week. So I've never played that one. But
I don't even know what Pathfinder is.
Apparently it's a real similar model.
Okay.
Yeah. Right? Like desktop RPG. So not desktop computer. Tabletop?
Yeah.
That's what I call them? I don't know. So what do you guys first Captain America film?
You know, I'm not a big fan. It's all right.
I liked it.
I did too.
People usually do. And
I like the World War II throwback.
Right. Yeah, I think that's part of it too. And this was also directed by the same guy who did the Rocketeer and all that. You know, so it's like, right. It's like, oh my God, yeah, this is great. But no, I like it. I know you're not really big on Captain America.
Yeah, I think that's why I don't like it.
Yeah, just like the character, but it's Captain America, Julie. He's supposed to be like that. Like that.
He is just so self-righteous. I cannot stand it.
Okay, how many captains? Has there been 4 Captain America films?
Yes.
Okay, well, there's Civil War.
Right, Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier's the second one.
3. There's been 3, right?
Is there a 4th one coming out? Is that what I'm thinking? Or not?
There's the show with like Falcon and Bucky. I think it's called Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no, I think only 3 Captain America movies. And at this time, no plans.
Is that a model that they're kind of following? Because there's 3 Thors, there's 3 Captain Americas, there's 3 Iron Mans.
There's supposed to be another Thor movie, right?
Yeah, no, Thor's going to get a 4th movie.
Because you sent me a text about it. Yeah, that Christian Bale's going to be the villain, right? No, yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite Christian Bale films. You guys ever seen Equilibrium?
Oh my God.
You don't like it?
Which was remarkably like a Gillette razor commercial that was out around the same time as this. We used to laugh about that all the time when we see it on TV. Remember that? Yeah. And it's like, hey, that's like an Equilibrium movie. But this is going to be another one of those discussions where it's like, yeah, Christian Bale, man, excellent actor, right? And then it's like, but that movie.
Okay, Equilibrium to me is one of those films that I enjoy. I think it's terrible.
What don't you like about it? Like for me, like
so bad it's good.
Yeah, to me it's a so bad it's good.
Man, I mean, it had some problems in the plot point. Like when V for Vendetta came out, I was like, this is a way better version of that same film.
Yeah, right? That's kind of my issue is Equilibrium. There's so many other movies that have done it better. And it feels a little soulless and lifeless because they're not supposed to have emotions or show them.
So I just went back and... like,
Sean Bean.
Probably why I'm thinking about it. It's like I just went back and listened to 1984.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized how many people have ripped that off.
Yeah. Well, it's like... Equilibrium's like a combination. It's like 1984. It's like Brave New World. It's like
The
Matrix, right?
Yeah, so it's, it is very Matrix.
But I did think...
It's derivative,
I actually thought the fighting was really cool.
Yeah, the choreography on the fighting.
And pretty innovative.
It was interesting.
The effects, not so much.
No.
Like when
Taye Diggs gets his face cut off.
Yeah, it's so bad. That is so bad.
That was pretty bad.
Digital.
They ran out of money at that point.
Yeah.
Over budget. I was watching something about the making of Home Alone the other day on Netflix, and they were going into like how they had all of these budget issues and all of these problems, how it didn't almost get released, and a different studio bought it in the middle, and all of these crazy things. And they filmed almost the whole movie with, it wasn't Joe Pesci and the other guy.
Yeah.
It was it was somebody else.
Wow. See, I was waiting for like, they ran out of money, but they had like all these elaborate like traps that they had set up. So it's like, we're just gonna go buy some paint cans and use some Legos, you know.
And it's like, paint cans in my garage.
Yeah, right. You know.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, you know, they had this ultra elaborate sort of like like almost like a Rube Goldberg type
One
thing,
of the funnier memes I've seen is like it has the McAllister house, and it's like, I want to know what Kevin McAllister's dad did for a living.
Yeah,
it's
really.
like a super elaborate.
They're so
house.
affluent, right? I mean, it's like, yeah, that house is huge.
Yeah.
It's like the nicest area of Chicago I've ever seen.
For real.
For real.
This is Peter McAllister, the father.
Credit card.
You got it.
I say that all the time, and people rarely get it.
Are you serious?
I use that line
Dude,
all the time.
I had a Talk Boy. I got that for like Christmas.
Yeah.
That was like 1994 or 93, somewhere around there. But yeah, I got that for Christmas. Dude, that was like the best thing ever.
I sent someone a Jingle All the Way GIF yesterday.
Oh man, that movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
That movie sucks.
Simple man. Yeah, it's really not that good. Sinbad's in it. I rewatched it probably 5 years ago. Like I just saw it on. I was like, I'll throw back. I hadn't seen this since I was probably 10.
You know,
or something.
I run into people like our age who like don't remember the Donald Trump cameo from
And Home Alone 2?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised.
He's in there.
You know?
Yeah.
Kind of surprised.
The main villain.
Down the
of
hall
movie.
to the left. I think he says something like that, right?
That was a pretty good Trump impression.
You'll never see that again. It's like when I did the Paul McCartney impression that one time as Michael Jackson. And it was
One time only.
one time only. Never going to happen again.
Do you guys
In the
ever see Kevin Spacey auditioning for the part of Han Solo
Yes.
as Christopher Walken?
Yeah. It's pretty good.
It's so good. Oh man, we don't talk about Kevin Spacey.
No, terrible person, great actor.
Yeah. Okay.
We're back to this again, huh?
I just want to point there's someone who was on this podcast who sat in that seat right there, and we didn't talk about this on the podcast because we don't want him to get murdered. Kevin Spacey groped his leg.
Oh, well.
This dude was in Hollywood, filmed on tons of movies, filmed a movie with Maynard from Tool.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a funny thing. Like a really good friend of mine, just yesterday, I texted him. I was like, hey, my buddy is fighting your buddy in this combat jiu-jitsu match. And he sent me a picture of him training with Maynard from Tool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was just like, and he's like, yeah, we're training right now. I was just like, damn, bro. Tell your buddy that my buddy does leg locks.
Yeah, right.
Because this guy from Tulsa, Oklahoma, who's taught at my gym before, is fighting that other guy in that picture, a guy named Eddie Fivey from New York. And it's like jiu-jitsu, but you get to slap each other. No punching. Right. And you can only slap on the ground. It's weird. But I'm like, I want to watch these two dudes I know do it. And it's like coming on tonight, actually, on UFC Fight Pass.
Cool.
So, but yeah.
All right. Well, Captain America.
Yeah, we're back. We're back.
Yeah, let's leave Kevin Spacey behind.
Definitely.
I like the look of the movie. I like that it looks different.
I'm just
from the
saying,
other
Captain
ones.
America is an old-fashioned hero.
He's too old-fashioned.
Like,
I mean,
I'm looking at him arguing with Tony right now, and I'm like, I am such a Tony Stark fangirl that I can't like Captain America.
I mean, that's fine.
They're like he is
not
like
even
the
when he got
antithesis of Tony in many ways.
Yeah.
Well, and you know that I like the writing too, because I feel like the writers realize that, especially when we go into Phase 2 and Civil War.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And yeah, most of the main conflict within the group comes between Steve Rogers and Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Which I like, but I just don't like Steve Rogers.
Fair enough. Not even when he got the Chuck Norris look going on in the later movies.
When he had the beard?
Yeah.
That was
Which one is it? Is it George St. Pierre is in, I think, Civil War or Winter Soldier.
Who?
He's in George St. Pierre, the UFC fighter.
Why do you keep throwing out all these fighters?
He's the Russian. He's the or the guy that he fights on the boat. Let's see which one. I'm trying to think of what movie he's in, because I was that's in Winter Soldier. It's the guy that he fights in that really long fight scene. I feel like it's really long. Hold on, I'll show you a picture. This guy.
I don't recognize him.
No, okay.
I haven't rewatched Winter Soldier yet.
I've only seen it 2 times, I think.
once.
I've only seen it once, actually, in theaters.
Nice.
Yeah. I thought it was good, but it was Captain America, so.
That's like their fight scene. So it's a pretty nicely done fight scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say they're fighting like on a boat, like some sort of boat out in the.
Well, I don't know if you agree with me, but I think Captain America, the first Avenger, is the weakest of the Captain America movies.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I could buy that.
Okay, yeah, because like I said, I'm not a fan of the character, but I do think his movies got better and better as they went along. Maybe because they added more characters into it each time.
To distract away from.
Yeah, it wasn't just Captain America.
Yeah. Steve Rogers.
Let's see. What was the last one? Is Civil War the last one that came out? I've seen all three of them now.
I want to say, yeah.
For Captain America.
Yeah, but I haven't seen. Yes. I haven't seen Winter Soldier, Civil War since they came out.
Mm-hmm. So. I watched Civil War.
Civil War is the superior movie.
Yeah.
But I know we're going to talk about that because that's we're jumping phases. Yeah. But that's.
How many of the Avengers are in Civil War? Everybody?
It's not everybody, but it's a lot.
Is Ant-Man?
Because Thor's not there.
Yeah, Ant-Man's in it.
Ant-Man's there. Yeah. Thor's the main one who's missing, and Hulk. Hulk's missing too. They have their own thing.
Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have avoided watching Thor Ragnarok because I didn't see Dark World, but somebody told me that I could very easily watch without seeing. That's why I didn't watch a lot of them.
No.
Yeah.
It does build off of Dark World, and it actually there's some jokes that you would only understand if you had seen Dark World.
Interesting. Yeah, that's why I've avoided watching so much of this.
Are you not a Thor fan?
No, I am. Like, honestly, I rewatched Thor, the first one yesterday, and I'm like, I love this movie. Like, it's a good movie, right?
That's all right.
I don't know. I'm kind of like, what I was thinking when I was watching it yesterday is just how, like, really, like, all of the first movies, even though you guys would argue not so with Incredible Hulk, but, like, all the foundation movies are pretty good. Right, like they kick the snowball down the hill, like the Avengers, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. They really do.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. Except I don't think Incredible Hulk set up Bruce Banner's character very well. But the other ones, Captain America sets up who he is and what his arc is going to be.
Right.
The same thing with Thor. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the movie, it sets up who he is. It sets up who Loki is. So then it can go into Avengers.
Yeah.
And this was really, I don't know if anyone else has done this. I'm just not thinking of. But this is the first time I had seen a movie franchise like individually set up all their like main characters to come together for a movie like the Avengers.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
And Avengers is the last film in phase 1.
Yeah.
So, and was that like all planned to culminate with the Avengers?
Yes.
So from like what you guys were saying with the post credit of Iron Man.
They already had that plan in place and had the plan to do the other movies leading up into it.
Well, that's why I was saying I think it's strange that they jumped from Incredible Hulk right to Iron Man 2.
I don't think so. I think it makes sense from a business perspective.
Okay. Well, that's what I was saying is that maybe the Incredible Hulk wasn't as good as projected to be, so they fall back on Iron Man since it's a proven sort of thing already. And they go forward with that instead of, okay, well, we're going to make the next Captain, or we're going to make the Captain America movie or whatever, or we're going to release that next.
Yeah.
Just theory. That's all.
I agree with that.
It's all theoretical.
And also they had to start, I think, doing a lot more planning to come together for Avengers. So like I said, you're having to introduce your main characters, but also your main villain earlier. And you're having to introduce what the Tesseract is in Captain America. Mm-hmm. And also having Captain America like crash into the ice. Yeah, you're right. You got to get
him to current days or whatever.
Yeah, so you're having to move all the pieces around to get them into this one spot. So I think I would think the break in between was to do some more planning. I don't know if it's specifically because Incredible Hulk wasn't that good. Also, Iron Man 2 wasn't that good. but I would think more than likely it was somewhat related to it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's the only reason, but I feel like that could have been involved in the thinking process of how to release the films.
I found some of these tables that have the order to watch. That's where they put, that's you have to type chronology to watch to get the and on that you always watch it's Captain America first, but they don't, it's not in phases in that regard. It's like, because then it goes to Captain Marvel after
the
Captain
90s,
America, and like Iron Man 3 is one of the first ones, Thor is one of the first ones, or it goes Iron Man like 1, 2, Thor, Iron Man 3, Incredible Hulk's in there. So some of the phase 1 stuff is there, but it's a different order to watch. Like that's what I was doing for a while, is I was trying to watch them in chronological order, and it was like, honestly, it's hard to keep up with. I think I need to watch them out of chronological order and then just loop back and start trying to understand.
I don't think to me it doesn't add a lot more to watch the story in chronological order.
Right, I agree.
And maybe because I get more interested in like behind the scenes stuff of planning a movie franchise like this. Yeah. But I get more out of watching it as it was released.
Right, I do too, because you see continually that they continually raise the bar with almost every movie that they release afterward. You can tell that they're building off of something here.
Yeah.
So there's been 4 Avengers then, right?
Yes.
So the very last one. And so what else are they doing? What else is planned? Anything?
Going into phase 4?
Okay.
The Black Widow movie.
Black Widow
comes out.
I forget what. There's one with Angelina Jolie. It's like the Immortals or something. That could be wrong.
There's another Doctor Strange movie that's supposed to come out.
I've seen Doctor Strange. What do you guys think about that?
That's another phase.
That's in another phase.
I know. But that's one of those beginning intro movies that. I don't know. I thought it was good.
I rewatched it a few days ago. Yeah, I liked it.
I like Benedict Cumberbatch, so he can do no wrong.
Yeah, what was that? I saw him in a movie about like code breaking that was really good.
Oh, Imitation Game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's super sad too.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Did you see it?
No, I haven't watched it.
It's good.
But it's okay because
he got ripped off for an Oscar. The
British government apologized for doing stuff like that to people. So
I know the story. So
yeah.
Oh man, I want to get Woods to come back on and talk about the Cambridge Five on the podcast. Right? They're the Cambridge Spies.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome. Anyway, around the same time period.
Yeah. Okay.
Post World War I, I believe. Anyway, so
the
Thor is Thor not in phase 1?
No,
the very first Thor.
So what the release order is: Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2.
See, what's crazy is Thor, this table from Wikipedia,
and
Captain America, Avengers. Okay. I think.
So we kind of just jumped to Captain America.
That's the Wikipedia phase 1. What? Official article, and Thor is not in there. Blew my mind, but it's in the order you watch.
Okay,
let me see. Phase 2.
No, Thor was released. It's got to be
because it's not in phase 2.
Yeah, I think that's just a mistake.
There you go.
Yeah, whoops.
Yeah. Because I was sitting here being like, damn it, I watched Thor last night. And it's not in this phase.
I'm pretty sure Captain America: First Avenger was released right before the Avengers, because the end scene from that is a scene from the Avengers where he's like punching the punching bag and it flies across the room, and so I think Thor came out right before it.
It is. It's Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Avengers. Yeah. So we skipped Thor, kind of.
Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit.
Yeah. We directed by Kenneth Branagh, right?
Yeah.
The Shakespearean guy.
At this point, my thought was Thor was a little. It's a little bit disjointed. Because
I thought so too. Right.
You have the Shakespearean Asgard scenes,
right? And then it's the fish out of the water deal where he's down on Earth or whatever. So yeah. Hopefully I think that's where you're headed.
It is quite a contrast.
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins, love his character.
Can we talk about how Odin is the worst father of all time? took little Loki, baby Loki.
Yeah, the frozen.
But then it's like, one of you will be king. It's like, why don't you just tell Thor it's going to be him? Why are you raising these two to think?
Yeah, for real, man.
And then whenever Loki has his whole like identity crisis, Odin takes a nap. He goes into Odin sleep.
Yeah.
That guy sucks. I don't like him.
You guys seen Westworld?
Yeah.
No.
I liked season 1. I hated season 2.
Same. Season 3 is apparently coming out, but after that season 8 Game of Thrones debacle, I canceled my HBO.
Nice.
You showed them.
Yeah.
You missed out on Chernobyl, but
I tried to watch. I like watching an episode, and it was late one night, and I just didn't get into it because I was sleepy, and I probably should give it another pass. But I remember when it was coming out, like the Russians were like, "We're going to release our own TV show. This is what really happened."
Yeah. It was this American CIA
spy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would watch that.
What if it was?
I was talking. Was that
podcast immediately shuts down? Right?
Was that you? I was talking with the other day about. Imagine George H.W. Bush, like the stuff that he went to the grave with, because he's former president, VP, and director,
CIA.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Holy crap!
Let's have a seance.
Yeah.
Well,
HW.
You there?
Allegedly, Bush Sr. was in Dallas whenever Kennedy got shot. So
allegedly.
So was Richard Nixon.
Allegedly.
Both of those guys, if memory serves me correct, have also been photographed. Nixon for sure, and Reagan at Bohemian Grove.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Do you know about Bohemian Grove?
I don't.
It's where they worship Moloch.
Yeah.
It's a Mesopotamian deity. It's not a big deal.
NBD.
Yeah. They sacrifice a child in effigy. It's not a real child, but
okay.
They have this whole play they do out in the forest. But all these political leaders go there and watch this super creepy play.
Why?
Where they like paddle up in this boat. I don't know. It's some sort of like a cult type play, like for sure. They just did they opened this big tunnel in Sweden through these mountains, and they had this big like Baphomet, the goat. Yeah. They had that and like all of this crazy occult shit, and like Merkel and all of these European leaders were there, and I was just like,
it's interesting.
Yeah. I'm just used to seeing, Jesus and stuff everywhere. Yeah. But
Hail Hydra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? When I was watching the first rewatching the first Captain America movie, I started to text Thurman Hail Hydra in all caps, and I almost sent it to my boss.
It would have been great if you got that as a response.
Yeah, right?
Hail Hydra. Hail Hydra. It's like,
yes.
Whoops.
Man. That's funny. Yeah, I've had some text mishaps like that. And it's always like, oh, whoops, wrong person. Like one time I was texting Colby something like that he and I would be talking about, and I accidentally text this guy that teaches his class one time a week at the gym, and I was like, whoops. Sorry, dude. I wasn't meaning to talk about that activity with you. But he thought it was hilarious. Anyway.
Wow. Okay, so the Marvel films, Phase 1.
Well, let's talk about Avengers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because that's where I
currently on the television.
This is where
now.
I started drinking the Kool-Aid, the Marvel Kool-Aid.
I really liked the Avengers. That was when I went and saw this. I went and saw this at Brandy and Drew, and I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's a really, really good film.
I thought going into it, I was like, there's no way this movie is going to succeed, because the movies going into it, I really only liked Iron Man. I thought the other ones were okay. And then my thought was like, there's no way they can balance this many superheroes with all their character arcs and have it like feel like a fulfilling movie and an emotional experience. But they pulled it off.
Yeah, they did it. It worked.
Why are they able to do that? What makes this special or different than, say, Star Wars, which they're trying, let's say they're trying to follow the same model currently.
Right. Well, I think the issue with Star Wars, and I think why Marvel works is because they're willing to embrace so many different storylines. They're willing to go there. Unlike Star Wars, which has just been hung up on the Skywalker Sith Jedi thing forever.
The Skywalker saga.
It's like, to me, it's like Star Wars just focuses on just the same plain white suburb that you always have, and Marvel is willing to go beyond that. There's a whole world out there, right? And Star Wars, I feel like, is missing out on that. And that's why I think we like The Mandalorian so much, right? Because it does exist sort of outside that circle, you know? But I feel that the Marvel movies are just willing to go there. They're willing to introduce characters with different attributes, with different characteristics, and interweave them all together. And it works. It just works.
I will say too, like I think the way that they went about this, setting up each individual movie and introducing the characters before having like this huge, like, here's everyone together.
Yeah, instead of just throwing everybody in at once.
Right. Like, even though I'm not a huge Captain America fan, like, I understand his character and what he wants and what his arc is. So to me, like, these movies aren't necessarily about the plot, which the plot is pretty good. It's more about the characters.
Right. They're character-driven films.
And and I think Marvel's good about their writers write the characters really well. I mean, these are characters we're familiar with from comics and just pop culture.
Right.
And they understand. And I also will say the actors, too, are really good. Like, how they would talk. To me, The Avengers is really strong because it's written by Joss Whedon, who's famous for doing Buffy, if you've ever watched that. And his dialogue is very strong. Like, you can quote this entire movie.
Yeah. You were talking about, like, having prior connections to the characters or whatnot. I mean, not just the movies, but just, like, in pop culture just overall. And I'm like, maybe part of the reason I like the Captain America movie is, like, the World War II thing, right? Because I have, this image, right, of, like, from the comics of Captain America, right? He's leading the American army, right, into Germany,
I've always had
fight the Nazis.
They tie it to some sort of real culture or history that's, like, not just a part of the Marvel universe. I always have a soft spot for that. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I get that.
Right. But
yeah, I also think it's kind of interesting too. We're just talking about comics and stuff. These movies are inspired by the comics, but not necessarily like direct adaptations.
Right. How much do you know how much of the storyline was inspired? I mean, here or there, like, they took that from the comics. Was it all new writing?
I feel like inspired is a good word to go by, because their backstories are pretty similar to what happens in the comics. But this is also backstories that I feel like most people are fairly familiar with. Right. We know who, like, Thor is. We know where he lives. We know his relationship to Loki. So stuff like that's intact. But for the most part, I would say it's fairly original content.
Why have they not tried to, or are they going to try and cross over in some way with X-Men? Or
because, like, 20th Century Fox owned both of those groups. So it's, like, complicated, and we'll talk about it more as we go into the next phase. But at this time in phase 1, 20th Century Fox owns the X-Men, and they're making their own movies. They own Spider-Man, and they're making their own movies. And they own Fantastic Four, and they're about to make one of the most horrible movies of all time.
The last one's pretty bad.
It's awful. I feel bad for anyone who's in that movie.
What do you think about the very first one?
The first Fantastic Four? I didn't think they were that good.
I didn't like cheesy. Silver Surfer, but the first one, I thought it could have went somewhere, and then when Silver Surfer came out, I was like, I liked the Silver Surfer's character, and I thought that was a cool one to bring up in the second one, but it just didn't do it for me.
Well, this is also part of the reason why I feel like Marvel was, for the movies, are sticking to, like, being inspired by the comics, but creating their own, like, storylines, because 20th Century Fox owns all these characters who are integral to some of these storylines.
Is Disney going to buy 20th Century Fox? Is the next question.
They did.
Did they?
Yeah. That's why you see
surprised.
Spider-Man showing up in Civil War, And I believe they now have access to X-Men characters. I mean, they couldn't even say mutant in these earlier films.
Wow.
Like whenever Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver show up, those are mutants, and those are X-Men characters that they were able to borrow through a deal they brokered. But yeah, the part of the deal is you can have these characters, but you can't use the term mutants. And I think they call them miracles instead.
Yeah.
Which isn't as good as mutant.
No,
but,
no.
And yeah, that's why you also, at the same time, you have the Quicksilver in the Marvel universe, but over in the X-Men films, you have Quicksilver as well, and it's played by two different actors.
Evan Peters.
Yeah. And he was actually better, but
yeah. Right.
We can talk about phase 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was
for later.
It was a complicated, really complicated deal.
Yeah, licensing and contracts. That's like you're seeing that with streaming, because for whatever reason, like The Incredible Hulk, it's not on Disney.
Right.
You can go rent. I don't even know if you can rent it on Prime.
You can.
Can you?
That's how
how you watched it.
Yeah. $3 I'll never have back.
Is it worth $3? No.
No. It's worth
Sorry,
it. It's a $1.99 pawn shop buy. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you just go buy the DVD, right? You just pick it up from the bin for like $1.
It's one of those Black Friday 99-cent sales.
Yeah. I think it is I was going to say incredible. I guess that is a fitting word. It's incredible that they were able to recast the Incredible Hulk.
It's a different
like a main character.
Make it work.
In your Avengers movie.
Do you think that's a ding? Like
on Edward Norton?
No, just like if you're looking at it objectively, like fans want, I mean, how much do you guys like change? I hate it. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't like change. They don't want that, like, some fans will be like, oh, you're swapping the characters.
Right.
That's like, imagine like a band, they get a new lead guitar player. You don't like that band as much anymore. Do you think there's any of that? I know I've seen some fans talk about that.
I don't think anyone liked the first Incredible Hulk movie enough to really be like, oh, how dare you replace Edward Norton. I think it was only Edward Norton fans. Yeah. But then, like I said, that very end with Mark Ruffalo, I was just sold.
Right, yeah, that's right. That's exactly what I was getting at too.
Yeah. I would say that's a major strength of the Marvel universe here, is their casting is usually pretty spot on.
Their casting is really good. So.
Oh, imagine! I would love to see a breakdown of like the salaries for just like the Avengers.
Yeah.
Like on the films where
that's another reason, even after I drank the Kool-Aid and was like, Avengers was awesome, I was like, there's no way they can replicate this.
Yeah.
Because of I was like, how are they going to pay the salaries when we get up into... Because at the time, they introduced Thanos at the end of Avengers.
Right.
In the credit scene. And I was like... And so they're kind of building towards Infinity War. And I was thinking, like, how can they afford all these actors to be in something like Infinity War?
Yeah.
But I guess they were so successful that they're like, oh, we have billions and billions of dollars. We can do what we want.
Where do any of these films come in on like the top 10 highest grossing box office films or anything?
I don't know. I don't really pay too much attention to that.
I've been still waiting for there to be another Avatar.
I'm pretty sure Endgame is in the top 10.
I was thinking so.
Yeah. We were talking about like introductions, and we're kind of like sticking with the movies, right? But it's like, didn't Black Widow get introduced? Wasn't that second Iron Man?
Yeah, she was Iron Man too.
Oh, wow. Endgame is the highest grossing film of all time.
Wow.
There we go.
Not surprised.
Wow.
Actually, but what about Hawkeye?
Hawkeye was introduced in Thor.
That was Thor, where he's just kind of hanging out, right? Like from the ceiling or whatever.
Yeah. Thor's going to grab his hammer, and he's like, you want me to take him?
Yeah.
I thought that was a terrible introduction.
Yeah, right.
Though.
See, that's,
I was thinking the same thing.
Because first of all, I actually love Hawkeye. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's a good character.
But I feel like most people aren't familiar with his character and who he is. And he was also in the shadows for most of it. So I think there was like 1 second where... Once again, like Jeremy Renner at this time is not a huge actor, but so it's like film buffs that are like, oh, is that Jeremy Renner? But then it's like a 5-second scene.
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was very well done.
Yeah, I remarked on that last night. Like I thought it was kind of weird how they brought him in.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I guess we have to introduce Hawkeye.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's like, here, we'll just pencil this into the script here.
Yeah,
right?
like call up Kenneth Branagh. Let's see where he's at. Hey, can you fit this guy in?
Sure. Yeah. let's just have him hanging out.
Have there been any? Have you noticed in like phase 1 or just overall any slip ups that they've had? Are there any plot holes? Are there any...
like continuity slip ups? I was gonna be like Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2. Like those are both slip ups.
Oh man, for real.
I don't know about plot holes. I take that back. End of Thor.
Okay.
Loki falls off of the Rainbow Road into oblivion, and then by the end of the movie, like he's just fine, and he's back in New Mexico or wherever Dr. Selvig is. And there's never any explanation of how he survives falling off the Rainbow Road. The Bifrost.
Wonder if they'll answer that.
No, I think they were like, let's move past this.
What I love when what is it? Is it the end of this one where the Hulk just like like I remember
throws
seeing
him around
that
like a rag doll.
Damn, dude.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I want to do that to somebody, but just like a bad somebody like Loki, not you guys.
Hey, Loki's misunderstood.
Is he really bad? Yeah.
I love Loki.
He's just complicated.
I have my Burdened with Gloria's Purpose shirt on. He's great. I don't think he would have been a bad ruler. I'm just saying.
Loki
2020.
Less conceited than his bro for sure.
What?
You should make shirts, bumper stickers. I'd wear
this could bring the Democratic Party in line.
That's right.
Okay. With somebody other than creepy Joe Biden.
I don't really think Loki would be a Democrat, but he also wouldn't be a Republican. He's a Lokian.
He's running with Gary Johnson.
Yeah.
Independence.
Wow. How did we end up here?
I don't know. I'd vote for him. But anyways, I love Loki. He was a great choice for the Avengers villain. And I still think, like I said, a complaint is the villains aren't very strong. And I think Loki is still I actually think he's a better villain than Thanos, but you can argue that.
We'll think about this. We'll come back to this in the other phases.
Let's how many films are you guys into phase 2? Have you watched all of them?
So after Avengers came out and I went and saw it, I drank the Kool-Aid. So I saw every single one after that in the theaters, usually opening night.
Have you rewatched any recently from phase 2?
Okay. Now, truth time. I did not get into any of the Avengers Real Marvel Universe thing till only about a couple months ago. And I'll tell you why, Brian. It's because I was suffering from what is called the Martin Scorsese effect, which is where Martin Scorsese, the great director, right? Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, all that, made these statements, right? That the Marvel movies were essentially just an amusement park, that it's not cinema.
He did. I remember him saying that.
And for a while, I believed that, but I don't believe that anymore.
Martin might be one of those guys that says, I can't understand a damn thing on that music.
Yeah, he just turned into like your parents who are like, well, music was so much better back in our day, sort of thing like that. That's kind of what I feel like that statement is, and I think he's completely wrong.
Well, also, we've talked about this a lot because we like making fun of Martin Scorsese. But
he also said the mob killed both the Kennedy brothers, but go ahead.
But so Martin Scorsese has just made The Irishman, which is, on Netflix and everything. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why, obviously a reporter asked him, so it's not like he just brought this up out of nowhere, but I'm like, I don't think you should talk about movies being like theme parks and whatnot when you are basically photoshopping your actors' faces for a 3.5-hour movie.
Not very convincingly either.
No, and Marvel's done that better as well.
Yeah. Have you guys seen some of the more recent stuff they've been doing with deepfake?
Yeah. I seen someone who deep-faked The Irishman, and it looked better than The Irishman. I
didn't know somebody did that. But I'm not surprised.
It's on YouTube. Check it out.
Yeah.
I'll look into that on The Irishman.
Yeah, but I fell into that trap. And I mean, this goes all the way back to like when Iron Man came out, you know, and just being like, this is just going to be a CGI effects overload. It's not, it's just, you know, to make money, which I mean, it is to make money in a way.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is an artistic expression. I didn't view it as art back then or cinema or whatever you want to call it. I just thought that it was like, it's like a kiddie sandbox or whatever.
Scorsese also talked about how he thought cinema is like, you know, the important thing is having a group experience in the theater. And then once you finish the movie, you talk about it with people who saw it, which I think is hilarious because The Irishman was in theaters for a month.
Just for awards consideration.
Yeah, in only like New York and LA. But the Marvel movies are in theaters everywhere.
Right. And here we are sitting here talking about the films. And
Endgame's the highest grossing film of
all time.
Right. It's Avatar than Titanic.
Right.
Yeah. And it's movies like where you can cheer during them.
Yeah.
And you can talk about them after. Like there is, to me,
you're probably like the first person I ever heard cheer in a movie, for real.
Really?
Yeah. Like I want to say it was Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh yeah, no. You were there for Return of the King.
It was one of them. I want to say it was junior high, so it would have been the first or second, right?
I remember Return of the King. I was like cheering almost every scene. Probably.
That's where you had that crazy woman be like, "You ruined the movie for me," and it's like, what?
I think it was Holly Roberts' aunt came up to me and she was like, "You ruined the whole movie for me. How dare you?" And then Holly was like, "She's crazy. Don't listen to her."
And how old were you at the time?
I was probably, I think I just turned 16.
I was 18. So
who says that to a 15 or 16-year-old at the movie?
I know.
And I was like dressed up. I wore my Lord of the Rings dress to the theater.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? They like actually oversold that theater and brought in lawn chairs and set them up in the aisles.
Yeah, I do remember that. Insane.
What a like fire hazard.
That is wild. Yeah. I have because we had all sorts of fire capacity issues at the gym the location we just sold.
Yeah,
we like at our last testing we were like 40 people over capacity. I was just like, oh, nothing to see here. We're not parked on Parkway today because like one block back off Parkway, but people were parked all the way down both sides of the road, all the way to Parkway, and I was just like, but anyway. Now we're problem solved. We'll have to go check out the new studio if you guys want.
Yeah,
but, definitely sounds cool.
It's still maybe you guys can give some ideas. I'm just about to. We're starting to work in there. Like I got it closed in. It used to be open into the regular gym, but we'll close it off so it's only one door in and out. So I'm trying to figure out like what color I'm going to paint it. We're going to put the same floors I have in some of the gym. I'll show you guys. But there's like insulation and stuff in there, so coronavirus and stuff like that. So when we go, don't have like high expectations. But it's a big room, probably like 3 times the size of this.
Nice.
So okay. So next time we'll do
Phase 2.
Phase 2, Iron Man 3, Thor: Dark World, Captain America: Winter Soldier,
that's right.
Guardians of the Galaxy, which I'm excited to see for the first time.
I love that one. It's
Guardians?
one of my favorites.
Well, and I'm excited to see Dark World for the first time too. So
it's all right.
Me missing out on Dark World and I need to end Guardians. I'm excited about seeing those, and then I need to give Age of Ultron a better chance. I don't even know if I think I watched like 2/3 of it and didn't finish it.
Age of Ultron, it already had a rough time because the first Avengers was so good. And, you're having better movies come out too. Because, Guardians came out before Age of Ultron, right?
Yeah.
So, I think it has a hard time. It's not a bad movie. It's just not as good as some of the other ones.
And then lastly, Ant-Man.
Yeah, I like
that's a good one. Yeah.
Did you like the second one at all? I know it's not in that phase, but
I did.
Yeah. I like
it was fun.
Yeah. Michael Douglas.
Yeah, the cast is great.
Kirk Douglas, rest in peace.
Yeah, the guy was how old? 103 or something like that.
Yeah, Spartacus.
Yeah,
it's a great movie.
Wait, so in Phase 1, what would everyone say? Who was their favorite Avenger?
Who's their? Whoa!
Just Phase 1.
I don't know if I can pick. That's.
I was all about Hawkeye. which I think is weird because he's like the least.
He's just hanging out up in the rafters like Sting in the wrestling thing.
Maybe that's why I liked him. I don't know, but he has no superpowers. He's a villain for most of the Avengers, but I thought he was super cool. And I love Jeremy Renner. That might be why. He's a great actor.
Thurman, what about you?
I don't know, man. I don't know if I can pick. I
don't know. You were defending Captain America.
I was.
You do have a soft spot for him.
That's true. I don't know. That's. I don't know if I can pick.
I'm gonna go with Iron Man.
Okay.
I've always had a soft spot for Iron Man, my whole life. I had a bunch of Iron Man comics from when I was a kid, but I gave them to this buddy of mine who then I've known him for a long time. He's been on the podcast, but then he moved to Nebraska. He was a sociology professor from U of O. But I trained his kids. We hung out, collaborated, and I gave him a bunch of comics. He ended up moving away.
Wow.
Once he got your comics,
took off and ran with them. But I've always had a soft spot for him.
Okay. So do you all pick these characters because do you feel a connection with them? Is that, or is it not just they're a cool character, but it's like, do you see like maybe a bit of yourself?
Yeah, for sure.
In them,
for sure.
I don't really know if I have a lot of Hawkeye in me. Maybe.
If you had a weapon, I could see it being a bow.
He's kind of sarcastic, I guess. I always like superheroes that have no powers.
Right, yeah. I think that's what makes him such a good character. And you can say the same for like Tony Stark, unless you want to say his power is intelligence and money. Right.
But yeah, and that's why I like Batman a lot. But I think that's what I really liked about Hawkeye. I also like that about Black Widow. Like, they're just the normal people, but they're super awesome. And yeah, as soon as I saw Avengers, I went out and bought like Hawkeye's current run of comic books, which are really good. My Life as a Weapon.
So they're doing comics now off the movies, like expanding on stories, or
not really. So like the Hawkeye comic I bought is the comic, so it's there's no real relation to what's going on in the movies.
And it's new. It's like a new run, or are you talking about?
Well, this was back in like 2013 is when I bought it, and they've since moved on. But yeah, this certain run, I just bought all of them. And yeah, it was totally different. There's like a female Hawkeye that he works with. He doesn't have a family like he does in the movies. He's actually kind of a trash person. He's terrible, but still a great comic.
Wow.
Okay, so
I would say the only thing that really carried over is it does have the Marvel humor. Like, it's kept that brand. But yeah, it's totally different style of universe.
Wow.
This is preceding phase 1, but what did you guys think about like the old school Daredevil from like 2003 or something?
That's a terrible movie.
Ben Affleck, right? Wasn't that?
I'm upset you even brought that up.
Okay, yeah, it was not that good, but like, who was the villain in that? Like Colin Farrell played like Bullseye.
Bullseye, but then also they had Kingpin.
Isn't Bullseye a DC villain though? Like, that's what I was thinking. Bullseye was in Suicide Squad, right?
No, you're thinking of
Deadshot. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I'm like, I was trying to piece together where I had seen is that villain in any of the other Marvel films that have come out, or any other? Yeah. That
probably Daredevil? For obvious reasons. That was a horrible movie.
I'm gonna throw this paper clip at you.
Yeah.
I think I remember that happening. Yeah, that was not a very good. Elektra, remember the spinoff they did with that?
That was also bad.
See, so that's like coming out of that, and even though I like the 3 Spider-Mans, but coming off some of that preceding Marvel stuff, the original Hulk, I'm so glad we get this.
Yeah,
well, that's another reason I was so shocked that these were good.
Right,
because
it's based on the track record of the earlier,
I mean, I liked the X-Men movies, which are Marvel, but were being made by 20th Century Fox. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, like, DC was just steamrolling these with the Dark Knight trilogy.
And I'll say, like, now, are you referring to, like, the early 2000s, like, X-Men movies? Or
Yeah. X2 is a pretty good movie.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, it's like, yeah, okay, the first X-Men movie's good.
It's good.
The second X-Men movie's even better, but then you hit The Last Stand and it's just like it runs into a wall. Now the Marvel movies, I feel like they don't hit that wall. They just keep it just keeps getting better, you know?
Unless you want to count like Incredible Hulk and Iron Man 2 as being a wall that they somehow made over. They vaulted that wall, because those movies are awful and should have probably killed the franchise.
Yeah. See, I think when I did hear, I remember thinking this at the time, but when I did hear that they had replaced Edward Norton with Ruffalo, the first thing I thought was, I'm like, just like with there now being 3 different Spider-Mans in my recent lifetime, I'm like, 3 Hulks. But it's like, I get that it's different. It's not those preceding, that's not the direction they're going with it. But
right.
I always like looked at that, like I was saying earlier, as like a ding. I'm like, oh, like it's harder for me to get invested in some areas. Now with this, not so much. Like I remember like with Iron Man 2 and the Hulk both, like hearing that the Hulk was getting changed for Ruffalo, and then Iron Man 2 just not being that good. Mm-hmm. It didn't get me super pumped. It's like about watching all of these and figuring out what was going on.
Yeah. No, like I said, I did not think this was going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And stuff like that happening. And I was like, oh, great job, guys. Glad you built up this. Because, I've seen other movies that have built up having a sequel and it just never happens because it wasn't a success. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I thought it was going to be like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and once they got to Avengers, and obviously it works, it's a great movie and it's fun. Like it really kind of redefined blockbuster movies. Then you start getting where people like DC and Star Wars and even Universal Horror tried to bring back the idea of the cinematic universe.
Not the great 1999.
Did you ever see The Mummy with Tom Cruise?
But the Tom Cruise version.
Oh, yes. Cora's very mad at me.
Why?
Because she loves The Mummy with Brendan Fraser.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
It's a great film.
Yeah.
It's a great film.
So fun. So much fun.
But she... one time she just came home and I was like, oh, we're going to watch this movie. And I played it and she was like, why did you make me watch this?
Yeah.
She's still mad about it.
Well, now just think, like, it's a terrible movie, but just think that was Universal trying to create what they called the Dark Universe.
Yeah, where they were going to bring back all these
all their monsters.
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking about League of Extraordinary Gentlemen earlier. That's what they were trying to tie that into. They did, because Russell Crowe
yes.
Dr. Jekyll, yeah.
Yeah, League's another terrible movie.
Yeah, it really was.
It's a really great graphic novel, comic book series, but terrible movie.
Wasn't that like the last film like he did?
It made him retire.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that video of him talking about like justifying hitting women?
No.
Oh,
no, I don't know if I want to watch this. I've heard about it.
You want me to throw it up?
No.
Okay, it's horrible.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
I know, because it's like, man, it's James Bond, you know?
So it's like a woman interviewing him too, and he's just like, sometimes when it goes this far and they make it go further, you just got to give him a slap. That he says that, but he's like, give him a slap. And I'm like, whoa, Sean. What? Wow. Like, I can't believe it. I was just like, dude, you come from a way different time. Apparently, he's super old and in really bad health now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what? The guy's got to be like...
He's really old, yeah.
90 or something?
Yeah.
I mean, that was like early 60s that he was playing James Bond, so he had to be, what, maybe 30 about then? You're going to say, he was in Darby O'Gill and the Little People 1959 or 8 or whatever.
Talk about a great movie.
That's on Disney Plus.
I'd build a cinematic universe out of that movie.
What's that? The Rock, Entrapment. Those are some movies I remember him doing. First Night.
I wanted
The Untouchables.
I wanted to say he's a great actor, but is he?
He pretty much plays himself. That's what I kind of feel like. Or it's like he can't hide the accent.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
He's a charismatic actor. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's pretty good, but I don't think he's great.
He might,
He might come to my house and slap me.
That's terrible.
And then Edward Norton shows up.
And who
takes control.
Who else have we mentioned? Daniel Day-Lewis shows up. Kevin Spacey shows up at some point.
The League of incredibly hard to work with actors.
Yeah. Okay, so have you guys been charting back on the Kevin Spacey thing? Like 3 of the witnesses that accused him of whatever, died.
Yeah, I know. It's bizarre.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
like Kevin Spacey has that kind of power. Like that blows my mind. Like, yeah, I want to think it's all coincidental, but I'm like, I could see 1 or 2, but 3.
Yeah.
Well, what were their deaths? Was it suicide?
I looked into it when I first heard about it, but it was all like somewhat believable stuff, like, suicided in your car while you were driving it or something like that. Yes. Oh man. Like,
wow.
They Joe Rogan one time, they went in this big conspiracy tirade on all these people who they thought had been suicided.
Yeah.
And like they're like, yeah, he was just, driving in his car and then it blew up for no reason. It's like, and it's like a
coincidence,
suicide.
Mysterious.
I think not. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It is, but hey, I read something. There's apparently some Clinton documentary coming out. Have you been charting this?
Is this like the Hillary one?
Yeah.
It's on Hulu, right?
Yeah, have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Bill talks about the Lewinsky scandal.
That's what I've heard.
That says why he did it.
Wasn't it like his way of like relieving tension or something like that?
Pressures of the job.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
I was like, what a toxic piece of shit.
Yeah, I know, right?
Then he talked about like having to tell Chelsea, and he said that was harder than telling his wife.
Wow.
Yeah, I read like parts of the transcript.
This is so cringy.
Yeah.
Like this whole thing is just like, oh,
yeah, and it's super interesting. I never thought that.
Right, you'd reach this point where you'd actually like hear anything like candidly about it, right? Like up front like that. But
how long ago has that been now?
That was 98.
Nah, that's what I was gonna say.
Maybe about around there.
Yeah.
Over 20 years. Wow.
Yeah, about 20. Yeah, 20 years ago. Impeachment. And we were kind of in a similar situation a few months ago.
Mrs. Kramer's history class back in 5th grade, we had to vote on whether or not Clinton should be impeached.
Did you impeach him, Julie?
Yeah, I said because it was perjury. But I remember everyone in the class was like, he cheated on his wife. He should be impeached. I was like, that's not the issue here. He lied under oath, which is perjury. So, yes.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, that is interesting how everybody latches onto the moral issue.
Right, yeah, right. That's what I feel like it kind of became more about than the perjury thing. Right? Yeah. But
I don't know. Clinton was never the most truthful about some things.
Well, we were talking.
I did not inhale.
Yeah.
He did.
He totally did. Probably inhaled a bunch of stuff through his nose later on, too.
Well,
my research is done correctly.
Geez. Well, we were talking about his handling of when he brought over, or when the Cuban refugees came over in 1980.
What cost him re-election?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So. Slick Willie.
Indeed.
Well, I'm thinking now, like, they should have an Avengers team of former presidents.
Well, who would you pick? Right?
Dude, I don't know.
Maybe this could be for the next podcast.
I want FDR, and he's going to be like the Professor X in the wheelchair.
Yeah. Oh yes, that's great.
But yeah, it's like, man. We could have a team of like great presidents, and then a team of terrible ones, and they'll be the villains that they'll face.
Really?
Because I want Lincoln.
What on the great presidents?
Presidential Avengers.
Just because he's Lincoln the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
Just keep him with his original.
Who else? Who do you want?
On the team of great presidents?
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna go with. Teddy Roosevelt would probably be pretty good.
Ooh, TR, man. Yeah. He had a brown belt in judo and he could box.
Yeah, I was like, the guy could fight. So
yeah, he could be a Captain America.
Yeah, but is his power like he's invincible?
Well, yeah, he almost got he got shot during a rally or whatever.
He's like bulletproof.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Reagan, too. Reagan got shot.
Charismatic
giving
guy,
a speech.
Too. Yeah.
Very an actor.
Yeah, right.
Remember on Back to the Future? Who's president? Ronald Reagan. The actor!
Yeah,
right. I watched the third one the other night.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So great.
Classic Western.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Clint Eastwood.
Buford Mad Dog Tannen.
Oh, man. Over a matter of $50.
And a horse.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that movie in a long time. I usually only watch the first two.
It just it was on Netflix. I noticed.
Yeah,
it was like between that or National Treasure, which I've seen countless times.
You made the right choice, though, Brian.
Do you not like National Treasure?
It's all right.
I love that movie. It's so stupid.
Nick Cage being Nick Cage. That's
yeah. The guy I was telling you was on the podcast that got groped by Kevin Spacey. He filmed on Book of Secrets.
Oh.
And gave Ed Harris a piece of gum.
Nice.
Hey. Yeah. Ed Harris was like, anybody got any gum? And he was like,
Ed Harris.
Yeah.
Remember that was like a joke forever. Because the guy would be nominated for Academy Awards and never win.
Never won his Academy Award, or hasn't yet.
One of the my favorite movies I ever saw Ed Harris in was Enemy at the Gates.
Yeah, that was...
I think I've only seen that once.
Yeah, that was like...
Well, he's in The Rock, too, speaking of Sean Connery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a good movie. And by good, I mean it's really not, but it's still entertaining.
It's a little long. I remember. It seems to drag on. But I hadn't seen it in a long time either.
Right.
Yeah, well, I guess let's wrap this up. We'll do phase 2, whenever. You guys hit me up about scheduling. Mm-hmm. I don't know how long. It'd probably be another month or so, and then I'll be moved in. You're about to see the new studio, so you'll see. We have to paint floors and move everything in. I'm building a new podcast table.
You're building it?
Well, I'm not building it. People better than me that know how to work with wood. I can work with wood, but not.
Sorry to call you out. I just got excited that you were building it.
Well, like my rock table in there.
Yeah.
My dad he fabricated the metal base. So
cool.
I'm trying to go a metal table with 1x12s on the boards. And this one, I'm up in the air on whether we're going to do an I shape or a T shape. But if we do T shape, I'm going to put the camera, computer, mixer, everything on the end where the T is at. If we do I shape, I'm going to do that and then actually put a TV on one end of the table.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool.
We'll see.
You said you were doing the non-reflective surface.
Yes.
Good choice.
The lighting in here has been a little weird. And sometimes when that people set where you're setting will bump the curtain and then the light comes through and hits the lens and it gets a little weird. That happened when we did it with Josh that last time.
Wow.
It's happened a time or two where the light will hit the lens. On the audio only feed, it's a non-issue.
Right, because it kept on turning into like a Monet painting, from time to time.
Yeah, and I ran a big focus correction on that took like 3 hours.
Wow,
and it cleaned it up
original.
A lot.
I would have loved to see the original then.
But every time there would be light come through, it was like...
Sorry if I got too into hating on Star Wars that I bumped the curtain.
No worries. Right. There's some incredible Hulk hate over there too. So.
Okay, you're talking about favorite Avenger or whatever, and you want to talk about characteristics and you identify with people. Maybe that's why I hate so much on Incredible Hulk, because I kind of identify with Banner. Right?
Thurman asked me, he was like, if we were the Avengers, which characters would we be? I was like, you would probably be Bruce Banner. And then he took a quiz and he got it.
Yeah. So yeah.
I got Loki, who's not an Avenger, and also evil. So.
Well, what house are you guys from? I'm Gryffindor.
I'm Gryffindor as well.
Gryffindor.
Hufflepuff. I know. I like how it's just silence, right? Yeah, man, what a loser,
Oh, man. I've got a bunch more Harry Potter Legos in the closet I have to put together. I'm just kind of...
It always kind of bugged me in Harry Potter that was so focused on Gryffindor.
It really
50
was.
points, Gryffindor?
Oh, yeah, and Dumbledore...
They never kept track of the points either.
No.
Yeah, right?
I wonder, somebody has probably done it, though. Somebody's probably gone through it.
Well, no, someone needs to investigate Dumbledore, who was clearly biased towards Gryffindor.
Clearly.
And
an internal investigation.
The way he would be like, oh, Slytherin, you won. But wait. Neville, you told the truth. So 500 points. Gryffindor wins.
What? Yeah.
The sword of Gryffindor.
That's
always shows up when you need it most. Yeah.
What did Hufflepuff have? What was their...
I can't remember.
What? Like their what?
Like their thing. Like we had the sword of Gryffindor, and then the Ravenclaw was like that diadem. They had artifacts.
Yeah, right. Every house.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make. I've only seen the movies.
Not read the books.
Okay.
How dare you?
I'm going to listen to them this year. I'm going to listen to all of them.
You totally missed out. Those were coming out when we were like the same age as Harry Potter.
I know, but I have a legit excuse. Okay, my parents were Christians.
Oh.
And Harry Potter was the devil at that time. So, did you guys ever did you know anybody like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that weird?
We have missionary.
Like they would like at the church I went to, they would talk shit about those books being in the junior high library.
That's so ridiculous because I don't think they ever read them.
They didn't.
There's such wonderful values. It's just like
everybody that talks bad about smoking weed has never smoked any. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like
I will just say I don't smoke weed.
Yeah,
I don't like smoking. But whoever wants to, I don't care.
Right. Yeah. Do your own thing.
It's not bothering me.
The dichotomy, like I thought for like the longest time, I'm like, weed is bad, guys.
It's a gateway drug.
It's bad. Okay.
And then like die from this.
You will get addicted to the weed.
Yeah. Every stereotype that I heard that was incorrect, like as soon as I tried it, I was like, there's nothing wrong with this at all. Like nothing bad happened. Like, why is everybody giving Bill Clinton shit for this? Like
wacky tobacco.
I did not inhale. Did I? I will. Like, I'm sure it's bad for some people. I've heard some people that they were just like, it took away like any sort of ambition or motivation I had, and I just wanted to smoke weed all the time.
Well, and I think people
it's fine.
that are young, honestly, because when I did it, I was probably too young to be doing it. It was after high school, but still. There's a lot of studies that have shown, like, if you look at the age that a lot of mental illnesses onset, bipolar disorder, any of that, it's usually pre-25.
Yeah, right.
We might get a little bit other side of that line, but a lot of disorders that people develop are in, like, their younger adulthood, and you can be kind of pushed that direction from doing some drugs, even cannabis. So, I have seen some studies that I thought were compelling enough to make me be like, yeah, well, you probably shouldn't do that till you're like well out of high school. Like I would be open for them making the cannabis age like 21. Is it 21?
I think it is.
I don't know.
I don't know why I look to you. I feel like you know everything.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't think it says. I have a card.
Okay. Right on. I like how we've gone from Marvel Avengers to recreational
to talking about presidents, talking about Harry Potter, now we're talking about
Bill Clinton got us here, okay?
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, it's probably good because this is like turning into like the Edward Norton podcast. So
I did think, I feel like the first 30 minutes was only about Edward Norton.
What's your favorite Edward Norton movie? Right, Daniel Day-Lewis is great too. Gangs of New York is a great film.
Lincoln's a good film.
It's okay.
That's Scorsese, is it not?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Not saying Scorsese's not a good or great filmmaker. Just
I think too, as we
totally wrong.
We get into the next phases. That's when like Scorsese's argument starts to fall apart for me.
Yeah.
Because I think you could make an argument like Avengers. I thought it was a great movie, but it is pretty much just fun, and I guess you could say it's like a theme park ride. You have a lot of fun on it. You want to go again and again.
You think he just said that because they're doing so much with Marvel, and it is becoming a theme park. It will be a theme park tradition at Disney, right? Aren't they making all sorts of?
Yeah, they're doing their own little Marvel land.
Well, they're doing that. Like apparently, the Avatar ride is super sick. Cora did it.
That's what I hear. I hate Avatar. So,
would you ever go to Disney? Have you been?
Oh, I love Disneyland.
Yeah, Julie used to be a big fan.
I had a pass.
Yeah, she had a pass to Disneyland. She would go on Dapper Day.
Yeah, I did Dapper Day. I got into Disney bounding as a thing where you dress up inspired by a character. I did that. I did a half marathon at Disneyland.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, you right.
Actually, it was the Avengers one. It was the inaugural race for Avengers.
Are you doing like a triathlon?
No.
Did somebody tell me that? Are you doing a half marathon?
I'm not signed up. I'm doing a 10K. I'm doing Las Vegas 10K.
Okay, yeah. Ray Trower. He and I like.
Oh, I'm running with his daughter, so that's how he knows this.
He saw, like, I guess last time you came on the podcast and was like, "Hey, I know Julie," and I was like, "So do I."
Yeah, I saw him around. It was around Christmas, I think, right after. He was like, "Is your brother's name Thurman?" It's like, yeah, it is. He's like, I know Brian Wilson. I saw he was on the podcast, and I thought that has to be Julie's brother. You should.
He's such a cool dude.
Talk to him about wrestling.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I remember it came up, like when I first started working at USCCM, that I'd met Ric Flair, and he was just like, whoa. Really?
He also knows a lot about music.
He knows a lot about boxing.
Because I think he used to be a radio DJ.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, he does. He like I was talking to him about the band the other day, and he was just like dropping all sorts of trivial knowledge about, Crazy Chester from The Weight, and he's like, that was just inspired by this real person in Turkey Track, Arkansas, and I was just like, tell me more. But yeah, we got into a big conversation about Pink Floyd the other day.
Nice.
So he's got like a ton of Floyd's stuff on all vinyl.
Yeah.
So that's something I haven't started doing that I want to do at the new studio is do vinyl live listens.
Nice. Yeah. Right? This is good.
Yeah. It's better. And I can hook the record player into the mixer. So.
Right. Hey, look, we've reached the end credits.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Does this, are we going to put like a in credit scene somehow into this podcast where it's like,
hey, so
to tease the next
one. To tease the next one. Yeah.
Was I telling you, that little camera production thing that we could use for like pedal demos or something?
Yeah.
That has these buttons on it where I could be, so I'm going to round up some sponsors for the podcast at the new studio.
Yeah.
Like Valley Piano, for example.
Cool.
But that's like, I'll just basically hit a button and it will cue some music, or it's less editing and it does the live.
Yeah.
So that'll be way less. It'll already be on my computer. I won't have to like edit, render, upload. It's just like, it's much, much faster. It's going to take a few steps out. Editing this stuff and like uploading it, that's like the least fun part.
Yeah.
This is the fun part we're doing right now.
Yeah.
I hope that like someday somebody does that for me. It'd be great. Get an intern.
Yeah, you should have an intern.
We've had interns from tech, and I think now that we're like closer to tech, like we're super like right across the cow pasture.
Nice.
So we actually had 3 students that live on campus walk the other day, and I was just like, yes. We never had anybody walk where we are or where we were. So yeah, well, let's sign off and go check out the new gym. If you guys want to eat lunch or anything, I'm down. I don't really have anything going on till later this afternoon, so let's do it. All right, I'm gonna have my dogs out here too, so I'll put them up so they don't jump on.
All right.